Okay, hello everybody. I am Gregor Demtin, and I'm gonna present you Wazaabi. Wazaabi is a UI framework based on EMF Eclipse modeling framework for typically rich client platforms developing based on of Java. So if you already developed user interfaces, you already saw how it can be a mess in the code, and you can have UI code in several classes, in several files, and it's not so easy to keep it clear and clean. Wazaabi wants to bring a solution and a way to structure your data and your UI to keep it clear. Uh, do you know here in the people here? Do you know what's a model? Otherwise, I just 2 words on what's a model. Okay, just 2 words. A model is a way to structure data. So as you see, for example, here we have a text. The text is structured with a title, with several parts, and everything is clear, and every part has his own properties. For example, the title is big and is above, and something like that. It's a way to structure the data. That's only a model. So Wazaabi consider that a UI is composed by 2 parts, the way it looks and the way it works. First, have a look at the visual part. Let's take an example. You have a user which wants a user interface. Here we keep a very simple example. And the only data you want to know, he wants to order cars. And you want to know how many cars he wants. So you make an interface with some labels and a push button. It's quite simple, but you need to add some fancy things to keep it clear for the user. But it happens that for the same program, you want several kinds of interfaces. For example, if you have disabled person that want to see your interface, you need bigger characters. If you want to have an Android application, you also need another interface. But you don't want to re-implement the program to have another interface. You want just to change your interface. So by using a model, we just add styles to our widgets, like logic blocks. So here we have the color, we have the text, we have the layout. That's just styles, a bit like CSS for HTML files, which are styles you come and you put on your structure. On the other path, we have the way it works. You know that it's important, if you want to maintain your code, to have a clean code on all your functionalities. And it's very important. For example, if you want to bind several pieces of your UI, you need a good way, a clear way to structure them. On each event, you want to have an action that is triggered. For example, here, if you change the number of cars you want to buy, the label has to be updated. So behind every event, there is an action that is triggered. Like you see here, you have the click on the button or the change of the number. But of course, you have to be careful on the action you trigger. For example, you cannot send a mail to the factory by saying, I want to order -1 car. It makes no sense. So we have to check before some conditions before to trigger the action. Yeah. So of course, we have to check the data of the user. The way Wazaabi works is we say, okay, when an event is triggered, first of all, we have to check the conditions, and when the conditions are checked, then only we can trigger the actions. That's the way an event is handled in our code. So you see, there are 2 parts, the visual part and the functional part. On the model way, on the model representation, we see on our widget, we have on the left part, the text, the layout, and that's all the visual part. And on the right part, the functional part with a binding, for example, between several parts. So for example, a spinner and a label, and the event handlers with the conditions that are verified before the action are triggered. The conclusion of that is that it's not only the way it looks for a UI, it's also behind the way it works that is very important. So let's see how Wazaabi works in detail. Wazaabi is based on Eclipse, is programmed, of course, in Java, and the model aspects are based on the Eclipse modeling framework. We wanted Wazaabi to be the most modular possible, so it can apply to the requirement of your project in function of what you need. That's why Wazaabi is not graphic library dependent. It's structured in three components, three layers. First, the third layer is the event-driven processing, which is managing the whole functional part. Then we have core widgets. The core widgets are generic widgets, not specific on a UI library. And then, of course, you have a binding with the graphical library you want. You have SWT, Swing, or others. The graphic libraries that exist are, of course, numerous. The ones that are implemented until now are SWT and GFace, but it's quite easy to add another support since it's quite generic. The reason we want to modelize the UI is because a model is something that is clear, that is easy to understand, that is easy to adapt, to copy, to re-implement. But it's also easy to transfer the knowledge to other people because everyone is able to understand the model. Code is more difficult to transmit. And another reason is that modelization keeps it clear. Like when you see, for example, an XML file, HTML file, it's quite easy to see the structure of your page. It's the same with Wazaabi. We also created a visual editor. The visual editor is a way to develop your interface, a bit like window builder for those who knows. Of course, when you talk about development, you need to talk about version management. Of course, when you base your UI on a model, you can save it like an XML file, and merging and managing XML file are really easy. The other reason is you can also adapt, you can fork, you can copy-paste code of other people, of other application, and it keeps going. It's also easy to merge and to collaborate. One important thing in Wazaabi is the fact that it's not generating library-specific code. We are interpreting the model live. So if you are modifying the model, it will constantly be up to date in function of your model. So of course, like every project, we need more users, we need more contributors. You are welcome to, as usual, fork, be creative, use it, and we will be happy to merge it into Wazaabi. Actually, we are a young project at eclipse.org, so the website of eclipse.org is not totally up to date, but you can see wazaabi.org. The website is there, and you can find the information. I don't know if I have. Yes. Okay, so I want to show first a little demo, if I can. So here you see my Eclipse installation. I just have one project, and I'll do like that. In this project, I have a few code. It's a plugin, and the main application is here. We see it's a very short code, and the most important part is this one. Don't know if you see. It's the loading of the model. And my model is here. Okay, here you see my model is composed by several parts. The first container, the second container, and my second container, I have a tablet layout, and each container will be a tab, actually. So when I load it, okay, you see, I have my first button and then my two tabs. Okay, but the thing that is interesting is that when I click on the button, I link the button with a handler, and the handler is here. What do I do in this handler? It's very simple. I take the layout of the main container. So the main container is the container composing the two tabs. I remove the current style rule and I change it with another. For example, here I take the tablet layout rule and I change it with an expand layout rule. And here, if it's the other case, I inverse it. So what's happening when I click here? It's changing my layout, and I see I still have my application, but my layout is different. The thing is, I'm not regenerating the widgets. So here, if I type my name, toggle layout, I still have my name here. So it's changing the model live, and as I see, my model is adapt, and I have very few code. So I just have my model. And if you want, I can show you here how it's structured behind. It's just an XML file, so it's quite easy to merge, quite easy to copy or to adapt in function of your needs. Okay, so if you have any questions, I don't know how much time I have, maybe 2 minutes or 1 minute.
You said about changing things live. Can you do it live?
But like I show you here, actually this is changing the model live by changing the layouts.
I would expect you to be able to add components.
I can show you that in my outline here. This is actually the outline of my window editor. Wait, that's it. Okay. And for example, if I take my model, my label here, I have to change here. For example, this one. I can modify this by having in French, for example, and it's changing live. I don't have the EMF model. It's not accessible here, so I cannot show you the model changing, the visualization of the model live. But actually, you have to trust me, the model is changing.
You can't show the same application in GSF, which is one of the other supported tools.
This is SWT.
Can you show the same application in the other implementation?
It's quite difficult because I have to change the library for the demo. It will take some time. But that's the other question. Yeah.
UI file, has it changed while compiling, or is it runtime loaded and displayed?
It's runtime load and display. It's totally seamless of the library you use behind. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.